Right Side News, bringing you the right news for the right side. I'm Jim Hoel, and I am your voice. Thank you, and welcome to a Saturday night edition of the Hoel Report, as we have a very busy weekend of news going on already. I spoke earlier about the WikiLeaks Julian Assange story. And we have more to get into that tonight. Washington Post, breaking news. Roger Stone associate Jerome Corsi is in plea negotiations with the special counsel. Several of Roger Stone's longtime associates have been interviewed by the special counsel. The Post visited Stone just as in Mueller probe zeroes in on him. Okay, right. But, getting into this story. Conservative writer and conspiracy theorist Jerome Corsi is in plea negotiations with special counsel Robert Mueller, according to Corsi and another person familiar with knowledge of the talks. The talks with Corsi, an associate of the GOP operative Roger Stone, could bring Mueller's team closer to determining whether Trump or his advisors were linked to the WikiLeaks release of the hacked Democratic emails in 2016, a key component of this long-running inquiry. As I've gone into in great detail over this week, and even earlier today, I don't know how many times it needs to be said that that the release of the hacked Democratic emails was not done under any order by Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin or the Kremlin or any of that. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Corsi provided a research on Democratic figures during the campaign to Stone, a longtime Trump advisor. For months, the special counsel has been scrutinizing Roger Stone's activities in an effort to determine whether he coordinated with WikiLeaks. Roger Stone and WikiLeaks have repeatedly denied any such coordination. I could attest to that. I believe Roger Stone has made it known on numerous occasions that he really is not in contact with Julian Assange or WikiLeaks, and he's made it clear. So, Roger Stone will continue to deny this, and I, for one, believe him. Not to mention the man's smart enough to know something like this is probably a trap. I don't know him personally. But I do know that the man's been around long enough to know where all the bodies are buried. We're talking he goes back to, I believe he cut his teeth with the Nixon administration. So he's been a political operative for a long time. That's just giving you a little background on Roger Stone. Not a whole lot of people knows who he is. He is a political operative. He is good at what he does. He's one. Another word would be cleaner or fixer. But that's the background on Roger Stone, and there's nothing illegal or nefarious about it. That's just his job. He is very good at what he does. He's a political operative. He knows politics, and he knows the ins and outs of elections. But, so that's Roger Stone's background. Now, Jerome Corsi, I don't know much about this man. However, apparently he is an associate of Roger Stone who apparently confirmed the plea negotiations after they were first reported by the Washington Post on Friday. It said, I believe this is a quote, "It's true, your story is accurate," he said, declining to comment any further, except there may be further developments next week. David Gray, an attorney for Corsi, declined to comment, as did a spokesman for Mueller. An attorney for Trump also declined comment. Roger Stone said in a statement that he was not aware of any plea discussions involving Corsi. describing him as an investigative journalist whose activities I would think would largely be covered under the First Amendment. Excuse me. Apparently the deal has not yet been finalized and is not yet complete and could still be derailed. Last week, Corsi said his efforts to cooperate with the Mueller investigation had broken down, and then he expected to be indicted on a charge of allegedly lying. He described feeling under enormous pressure from Mueller and assured his supporters that he remained supportive of the president. So, in a webcast and interviews, Corsi said he had spoken with prosecutors for up to 40 hours and feared he could spend much of the remainder of his life in prison. I don't know about that. You don't go to prison for life for lying to a special counsel. You may do sometime, but I don't know about going away for life. Anyway. After 2 months of interviews, Corsi, 72-year-old man, so, it's stressful on the guy. It felt his brain was, uncoordinated. He felt his brain was mush after, 2 months of these interviews. Trying to explain yourself to these people is impossible, I guess. I couldn't tell the special prosecutor what he wanted to hear. He added. At the time, he gave no indication that he intended to plead guilty, and instead casting himself as an unfairly targeted victim of the Mueller campaign against Trump, which, dating back to 2 years, Roger Stone, Corsi, about every single member of the Trump administration or Trump associate. Paul Manafort, Jeff Sessions, Roger Stone, Steve Bannon, Milo Yiannopoulos, well, not really Philly, but the same kind of thing. Basically all of these, Jared Kushner, basically every single one of these people, has been, espionage was conducted. Okay, and moving on with this, then Jerome Corsi abruptly fell silent, canceling a scheduled November 13th interview with NBC. Gray, his attorney, told NBC that he had just spoken to the special counsel's office and had advised Corsi to cancel. Since then, Corsi has resumed talks with Robert Mueller's team about a possible deal that could result in him agreeing to plead guilty in exchange for leniency, according to the person familiar with the situation. Keep in mind, this is coming from the Washington Post. However, it's being reported. Speaking on a Buffalo radio station Friday, Stone said Corsi is under pressure to say what the special counsel wants him to say rather than the truth. Which, if that's the case, then we have some. We need to take a look at what Robert Mueller's trying to pull here. False confessions. It doesn't sound too good to me. I feel very badly for Jerry Corsi. He looks like he's been squeezed, Stone said on his WBEN radio program, hosted by his longtime ally and friend, Michael Caputo, a former Trump campaign communications official. Roger Stone questioned the credibility of Corsi as a witness, calling him an eccentric guy. He doesn't believe the moon landing happened, for example. He believes it was staged. I'm not getting into that one, but I don't know how credible a witness he would be, Roger Stone added. It's not clear what information Corsi could leverage in a deal with prosecutors. However, he told the Daily Caller last week that prosecutors are focusing on whether he had developed a source with inside information about WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's plans. I don't know about all that, but This is a kind of a strange story. Corsi has said that he did not have a direct source to the group. Instead, he said he developed a theory that Assange had access to hacked emails belonging to Hillary Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta, and that WikiLeaks would release them in October of 2016. That very well could be true. We don't know. He told the Daily Caller that he shared his prediction with many people, including Roger Stone. If Mueller could prove that Corsi learned about Podesta's emails from Assange or another person in contact with him, he would try to link WikiLeaks releases to Stone or others in Trump's world. I wish him the best of luck. There's no way in hell Assange is saying a word. Trust me. Julian Assange ain't naming any names. It's not happening. All right. The man is not naming any names. So, Roger Stone said Friday that Corsi never relayed such information. So it's kind of confusing. Jerry Corsi never told me that John Podesta's emails had been stolen and would be published, said on WBEN. On August 21st of 2016, Roger Stone tweeted that it will soon be Podesta's time in the barrel. He has insisted this tweet had nothing to do with any plan by WikiLeaks, and that it was based on research Corsi had provided to him about work Podesta and his lobbying brother Tony had done involving Russia. He simply told me off the air that their Russian business deals in banking, gas, and uranium. Stone said in a message this week to the Post, there is no WikiLeaks context. Stone told the House Intelligence Committee in September of 2017 that his Podesta tweet was based on a comprehensive early August opposition research briefing provided to me by investigative journalist Dr. Jerome Corsi, which I then asked him to memorialize in a memo that he sent me on August 31st, all of which was called from the public records. There was no need to have John Podesta's email to learn that he and his presidential candidate were in bed with the clique around Putin. Stone has since said that the information from the August 31st memo, which he received days after his now infamous tweet, was similar to the information that Corsi relayed to him verbally before the tweet. So the prediction that Corsi had made that Assange would publish Podesta's emails was correct on October 7, 2016. WikiLeaks began publishing the 50,000 emails stolen from Podesta's account. Stolen, hacked, it could have been a 400-pound guy in a room. It could have been some teenager, who knows. Or it could have been somebody else. But either way, they were releasing in batches of a few thousand at a time each day leading up to the November election. I believe they were released within about 2 hours after the Access Hollywood Buzz tape release. Corsi told the Daily Caller that he had based his prediction on public sources of the information, including the fact that Podesta was not among the Democrats whose emails had been published by the WikiLeaks when the group released Democratic National Committee correspondence in July. He said that he concluded that WikiLeaks must be holding back Podesta's correspondence to make a bigger splash later in the campaign. Podesta did not work for the DNC, and the emails were stolen from his private Gmail account, not an address linked to the Democratic Party. I believe his password was literally password, so that's about as easy as it was to break Podesta's email. Anyway, Corsi told the Daily Caller that Mueller's prosecutors did not believe his explanation and pressed him to name his WikiLeaks source. They were expressly interested in a trip he took to Italy with his wife that he had coincided in his realization about the Podesta's emails. They said they wanted me to tell the truth. I did tell the truth, and they told me it was preposterous and they wouldn't have said it. Roger Stone is under scrutiny because he made a series of comments during the campaign that suggested he was in contact with Assange and knew of WikiLeaks plans. Since then, Stone has vigorously contended that his comments were exaggerations based on public information as well as tips from a New York radio host and comedian, Randy Credico. Stone has also told the Post that Corsi had a relationship with Trump and spoke directly with the Republican candidate during the campaign. The two men became friendly after Corsi published a book in 2011 advancing the false theory that Obama was not qualified to hold office because he was not born in the United States. Donald Trump became a leading proponent of that falsehood, which he later then retracted very briefly and left the room, and all the reporters standing in. I thought it was funny as hell. But anyway, that was back then. But so basically, what we have here is, I don't know what Mueller's trying to do to this poor guy. I mean, Roger Stone. He's smart enough to see what's going on here, folks. I mean, the work this guy's done over the years, a lot of it you would never even have heard of. And like I said before, he has either cost or won candidates' elections based on activities you probably will never hear of. That's just how politics works. I mean, that's the name of the game. Eddie's very good at it. And I believe he is a good and decent man, and I don't believe that he would lie at all about any of this. So, as far as Corsi goes, he could be being badgered or, false, pressured to give some false testimony. Who knows? This is being reported by the Washington Post, but I felt that since it tied into WikiLeaks, it was important. That being said, we'll continue to watch out there, and if anything else comes up, we'll go back live. For Right Side News, I'm Jim Hoel. I'm your voice. Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with you soon.